Okay, so perpendicular lines have the opposite reciprocal slopes. So if we are looking at these lines here, I would say if I have y equals 2/3 x, okay, if I want a perpendicular line, I need to have two things happen. I need to have the opposite, so it has to be negative. And it has to be the reciprocal, so I have to flip my fraction. So it's got to be 3/2. All right, and then I need an x in order to have a line. All right, so see how those form a 90-degree angle? All right, that means they're perpendicular. All right, so there you go. Opposite reciprocal, that's what that means. So over here, let's write that down. All right, they have to have the opposite. Right, so one positive, one negative, and then reciprocal. Right, so that means they are, if you multiply them together, you get -1. And the reciprocal is like if you flip the fraction over. Oops. Okay, so for example, so here we've got, maybe I'll make um, an equation of a line. So the slope here is 8/3, right? 8/3. So the perpendicular slope is going to be negative, and then I've got to flip the fraction. So it would be 3/8. Okay, no big deal. That's all you have to do. Um, Perpendicular slope. So now here I've got, this is a negative, so I'm going to have a positive. I'm not going to put the plus because if there's no sign, it's positive. And then notice this is 5/1, right? So the reciprocal is going to be 1/5. You just flip it over. All right. Here I've got a negative, so I'm going to have a positive. And then this is -1, right? So that would be 1/1. Well, if you flip that, it's still 1. So the positive, the perpendicular of -1 is just going to be +1. And the perpendicular of +1 is going to be -1. Okay. So now it says create a line that would be perpendicular to the given line. All right, so equation is going to be y equals. So I just have to do the opposite. So it's going to be positive, and I just have to flip this over and then put an x. All right. And I could just leave it like that. My y-intercept could be 0. It doesn't matter. If you want to add, something here. So for like example, if I add a y-intercept here, all right, oops, I didn't want to do that. Okay, it just slides it up. It's still at the 90-degree angle. All that matters is the slope. So it doesn't matter what your y-intercept is. All right, so y equals, this is positive, so I have to have a negative. This is 7/1, so it would be 1/7. All right, and then I'll put an X so that I have a line, and I'll put some random y-intercept. And then here, again, I've got y equals, this is +1, so I just have to say -1, and I'll just leave it with a 0 y-intercept, that's fine. Draw a line that is perpendicular. So I have to figure out what the slope is, right? So I'll pick some 2 points. that are exactly crossing. Let me make this bigger so I can see. All right, so the slope here is going to be up 1, right? And I'm going to go over 1, 2, 3, 4. So the slope of this line is 1/4. So my perpendicular line is going to be negative 4 over 1, or negative 4. All right, so if I'm going to draw that line, I'm going to start at this point here, and I'm going to go down 4, right? This is down 4. So let me get a different color. I'll use my green. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and over 1. I need to have a negative, oops, I need to have a negative slope. Oh, that's positive, right? Because I went negative, negative, that's positive. Ay, ay, ay. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4 over 1. So I got to make sure I'm going, as I go left to right, I'm nice negative, right? So this would be 1, 2, 3, 4, and I could go left 1. I need a couple points so I can make a decent line here. Connect that. There we go. So the slope of 4 is pretty steep. All right, and you can see that's you can kind of see that that would be perpendicular. That forms a right angle there, right? Like a square corner. All right, perpendicular means you have a right angle, 90 degrees. All right, that's all you got to do. So let's see. What would the equation be? Well, it would be y equals, and we said my slope is negative 4. Then you got to have the x. And this happens to go through. My y-intercept is 2, so I'll say plus 2. Okay. And then now this perpendicular line, so let's figure out the slope here. All right, so this line is going, why isn't this going away? Uh, 1, 2, 3. So it went down 3, right, and over 2. Okay, so my slope is down 3 over 2. That's the slope of that line. So my perpendicular line has to be positive 2/3. All right, so y equals 2/3 x. All right, and I could just leave it that. I could have it go through the origin. So I'll go ahead and do that. Let's see. What am I need to do here? All right, so here is my origin, and then I'm going to go up 2 and over 1, 2, 3, and make a point. Up 2 and over 1, 2, 3. Down 2, 1, 2, 3. Down 2, 1, 2, 3. All right, so see how these two lines make that 90-degree angle, right? One is like that, one is like that. So that is what we mean by perpendicular. And mine, this one goes through the origin, so I'll just leave it as like plus 0. I'll just leave it like that. All right, so what is point slope form? That is y minus y, and then you have the slope, and then you have x minus x, right? All right, so write an equation of a line that is perpendicular to the given line and passes through the point. All right, so find the perpendicular slope and then use point slope form. So here's my slope is 3 over 1. So the perpendicular is going to be negative 1 over 3, the opposite reciprocal. Okay, and then we're going to write the line in point slope form. So y minus, this is my x, this is the y, so y minus 5 equals, and then I'll use this slope, negative 1/3, x minus my x coordinate, which is negative 1, and then I'm going to simplify it. So y minus 5 equals negative 1/3 x minus a minus is plus. Okay. And then here, now I've got perpendicular slope. This is negative, so my perpendicular is going to be positive. The reciprocal of 1/4 is 4, right? 4 over 1. So my perpendicular line is going to be y equals, oops, back up here. I've got to do, I want to do my point slope form. So y minus, here's my y coordinate, so negative 9 equals, and then my slope is 4, x minus, and my x coordinate is negative 8. Okay, and now I'll simplify that. Minus a minus is plus. Minus a minus is plus. Okay, now over here I've got my slope is negative 1, so my slope here is going to be positive 1. And so my perpendicular line is going to be y minus negative 7 equals, and this is 1 times x minus my x coordinate is 4. And then let me just tidy that up a little bit. So y plus 7, I don't need the 1, I'll leave it there, x minus 4. Okay. So now, write an equation of a line that is perpendicular to the given line. All right, so perpendicular slope, right? This is 2 over 1, so it would be positive 1 over 2. All right, point slope form, so it's going to be y minus y coordinate, and my slope is 1/2, x minus the x coordinate, boom. And then I've got to tidy this up a little bit. Y plus 6, x minus 8. Okay, perfect. All right, and then so now slope is 1/3, so it's going to be minus 3 for my perpendicular. And so it's going to be y minus negative 2 slope times x minus negative 5. Right? And then I've got to tidy it up. Minus minus. Minus a minus. Boom. Okay. So, very good. And then now I'm going to make that into slope-intercept form, right? Slope-intercept form is my y equals mx plus b. So I've got to get the y by itself. So I'm going to use my distributive property. Hang on. Okay, so y plus 6 equals 1/2 times x is 1/2 of x, and then half of negative 8 is 4, right? And then I'm going to minus the 6 on both sides. So that goes away, and I get y equals 1/2 x, -4 minus 6 is minus 10. So that is in slope-intercept form. And then here, I'm going to distribute this, so I get y plus 2 equals -3x minus 15. And then I'm going to subtract that 2. That goes away, so I get y equals -3x and then minus 17 when you combine your like terms. Right, that is slope-intercept form. All right, so here we go. Perpendicular slope is going to be positive 4/1. Point slope form, y minus, put the slope in front, x minus my x coordinate. And then that's that, right? And then here, perpendicular, so it's going to be minus 9/2. And then point slope form, y minus x minus. And oh, there's one more little thing to tidy up there. Okay, now to go to slope-intercept form, right, I'm just going to do my distributive property. So y minus 8 equals 4x. Oh, I guess I did have a minus. So let me... So 4 times x, right, and then 4 times 3, so plus 12. Alrighty, and then now I'm going to plus 8, right, on both sides. That goes away, and I get y equals 4x. 12 plus 8 is 20. All right, and that is my slope-intercept form right there. Right, y equals mx plus b. So 4 is my m, and then that b is the plus 20. And then now here, I'm going to do boom, boom. So y plus 3, -9/2x. And then I'm going to multiply this. Negative times negative is positive, right? And this is 10/1, so I'm going to 10 divided by 2 is 5. And then 9 times 5 is 45. Okay, or you just times that. You could just use Desmos if you want, and just take your -9/2. Right, -9 divided by 2 times -10. All right, I get positive 45. And now I'm going to minus the 3 on both sides, right? So let's minus 3 on both sides. So that goes away. So y equals negative 9/2 x, and then that would be plus 42. Okay, so now it says plot the line and point on the graph. And then we're going to draw a perpendicular line, okay? So x equals 3, right? That again, that's Vux. So that's going to be a vertical line. Here's my x-axis. 1, 2, 3. All right, so there is my line. X equals negative 3. And here's the point 5, negative 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2. And now I want a perpendicular line. Well, that would be a horizontal line, right? So this slope here is 2. All right, this slope, not 2, is 0. This slope is 0, right? If it's a horizontal line, right, there's your hoi. Right, so horizontal line has a 0 slope, and this is going to be y equals, well, what is the y? Negative 2, right? All these points have a y coordinate of negative 2. All right, so the perpendicular line would be y equals negative 2. All right, so now we've got this line, x equals 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So it crosses that x-axis, right? So that's x equals 4. So I want to go through the point 2, 3. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. And I want a perpendicular line, right? So it's got to be a 90-degree angle. So it's got to have a 0 slope, right? So it's going to be y equals, and where's it cross? The y is going to be 3. Okay, all these points have a y coordinate of 3. All right, so equation of a line that's perpendicular. So perpendicular to x equals is going to be y equals, and it's got to be negative 1. All right, so x equals, so perpendicular is going to be y equals, so y is going to be negative 6. All right, now this is talking about doing point slope form, and we're just going to, we'll just jump from here to here. All right, so now this says circle the slopes that are perpendicular. So here we go. We'll highlight. So if I want them to be perpendicular lines, I don't care about the y-intercept. All I care about is the slope. Now these are reciprocals, but they're not opposite. So this would be no. All right, so this is negative, positive, and then these are opposite reciprocals. So that's going to be yes. And then here I've got negative 3. They're the same. So these actually would be parallel. So are they perpendicular? No. All right, these would be parallel. Here I've got negative 1/2 and positive 1/2. So they're opposites, but they're not reciprocal. So that is a no. Determine if they're perpendicular. All right, so again, we have to, if we're looking for perpendicular, we have to look, what we care about is the slope. And so we want to get this y by itself, right? In all of these, we want to get the y by itself. So hopefully we are getting good at this, right? No worries. We're just going to minus 2x on both sides. So I get negative 3y equals negative 2x minus 15. Divide by negative 3. Boom. Y equals negative, negative, so that's positive. And then that's, so you do that. And then now I'm going to do that. Negative, negative, so that's positive, and then that would be 5. Okay, so this has a slope of positive 2/3, right? So this one, let's see, this one is going to be, let's change color. This one is going to be, bring down my negative 2y, negative 3x plus 20, divide by negative 2, divide by negative 2, negative, negative, positive, so positive 3/2. Okay, so right there I know they are not perpendicular because I'll go ahead and do this, and that's going to be minus 10. Now I can tell right here that they're not perpendicular. They are reciprocals, right? But they're both positive. Okay, so if they're both positive, they don't make that 90-degree angle. And so the answer here would be no. All right, not perpendicular. Okay, and then now looking at this guy. So minus 2x, boom, bring down the y, negative 2x plus 18, divide by negative 1. So now I have positive y. This was a negative 2x, right? So I've got negative, negative, so that's positive, and then that's going to be minus 18. All right, so now let's look at this over here. Let's see what we've got. Minus 10x. So those go away, and I'm going to bring down my 5y. I've got negative 10x. Divide by 5. So that crosses out. I get y equals, now that's going to be negative 2. All right, and then I know right there they're not perpendicular. Okay, because one is positive, one's negative, but they're not reciprocals. So this is going to be not perpendicular. And then here's my y-intercept. All right, so both of them are no, they are not perpendicular. All right, this slope was 2, and this is negative 2. They have to be both. All right, they have to be both opposite sign, right? One positive, one negative, and reciprocal, which means it's like it's flipped over. Okay, can't have one without the other. And that is it for perpendicular lines.